Hi, everyone. I'm Terry Sullivan. Big Time Wrestling is on the air for the next hour. Another outstanding lineup of stars. Awaiting now to get our first bout underway in the ring, Bobby Colt and John Banello. Also to come, John Davidson, the mighty Igor, Bulldog, Don Kent, Randy Scott. You're going to see the Assassin, Tim Talltree, and more of that outstanding attendance record match from Tokyo, Japan between the U.S. champion, the Sheik, and Abdullah the Butcher as they meet Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk. That via videotape from Tokyo coming up a little later on in the program. So a full hour. Let's get to it now. In the ring, standing by, ready to go. Introducing from the island of Malta, 227 pounds, John Banello. And his opponent from Amarillo, Texas, 246 pounds, Bobby Colt. Referee is Al Thomas. The bell sounds. Action on Big Time Wrestling. John Banello and Bobby Colt. Banello with a shoulder lock on Colt, twisting that arm around, putting that pressure on. Also, a little later on, we're going to talk to Chief Jay Strongbow. If you were with us last week, you saw what happened. We'll talk more about that with Chief Jay Strongbow a little bit later on in the program. Some outstanding bouts, good action in store for us. Some of the top wrestlers pitted against one another on this program. Outstanding lineup for television. Bobby Colt putting the moves on Banello. Looking pretty tough. Referee catches that choke by Bobby Colt, who comes on with a knee. Colt being pretty vicious so far against John Banello, who hasn't had an opportunity to do a heck of a lot so far in this bout. Colt picks Banello up, whips him off of the ropes, catches him with the elbow, and Banello is down. John Banello feeling the effects of this onslaught from Bobby Colt, and he's had enough. Good forearm jolts by Banello, whips Colt into the corner. Hands right in on top of his man, and over and down goes Bobby Colt. He literally saw the stars there as he went head over heels. John Banello, an outstanding professional wrestler. Test of strength. Let's see how far this thing goes. Banello down on one knee, but Colt doesn't let it go any farther. He forces it. Two kicks into the midsection. Banello still, though, maintaining his composure. Gets to his feet. Colt is wilting. And Banello gets the best of Colt. Nice drop kick. And Colt stands back. That was an arm drag from John Banello. Puts Bobby Colt on his back. Banello hangs in there with that hold. He's got that Japanese wrist lock on Bobby Colt. Colt reverses it, turns it into a standing wrist lock. Little hair tug there. Referee missed it, but our Big Time Wrestling cameras picked it up. Shows you what Bobby Colt will resort to. Colt being pretty vicious. Banello's had about enough. He's got that fist doubled up. Referee warns him about it, says open that hand up. Referee hold Colt with the advantage. He does not stand back though, and Banello lets him have one. Both men in the red trunks. Banello from the island of Malta against Amarillo, Texas, Bobby Colt. Full Nelson applied by Colt. Looks like he's got it clamped on pretty tight too. Banello straining. Now we saw the mighty Igor get out of this hold with his pure strength. Banello, oh yeah, very good. He managed to break it. Pretty much astounded Bobby Colt that Banello was able to do that. Colt stays with Banello, refereeing for the count. Only to one, though, is Colt Figure 4 arm lock here. Good hold, punishing hold applied by Bobby Colt as he shows everybody in TV land his knowledge of wrestling. Fans claim Colt pulled some hair there. Referee asks him about it. Colt, of course, denies any such thing. Colt still with figure 4 arm lock. Again, little tug to the hair. Referee reminds Bobby Colt that happens to be against the rules, which Bobby Colt already knows, I'm sure. Now, while Colt argues with the referee, he's got that knee across the throat. Referee was smart to that, though. Colt with the advantage in the corner, lays a forearm in. There's another one. And Bonello whipped into the other corner. Ooh, he went hard into that corner. Speaking of the mighty Igor, he'll be on next on Big Time Wrestling. Good treat for everybody. Chief Jay Strongbow will be in. He won't wrestle on the program. He's too upset to wrestle, he says, but he does have a message for Bulldog Don Kent because of what Kent did last week. In case you weren't with us, you probably should be glad you missed what happened, because some Indian children, members of Chief Jay Strongbow's fan clubs, the International Indian Fan Club for the Chief around the United States and Canada, got together some money, presented Chief Jay Strongbow with a real nice trophy. When Kent saw that, what do you think he did? Came out and just smashed that trophy to pieces. And as Chief Jay Strongbow said, he has been hurt, not only physically, but also deep inside. We'll talk to him about that a little later. Bulldog Don Kent will be wrestling. There's a figure 4. The figure 4 leg lock could be a submission hold here. Let's see. If not, Bonello could not get it applied to quite the submission point. Colt thrust those fingers into the throat. That was illegal. Body slam. And uh-oh, small package. This could be it. Banello has caught him. Yeah. This is one of the amazing things about John Banello, is his ability to just pick up on a move like that and turn it into a victory. Just out of nowhere, John Bonello came in with that pin. The winner, bout number 1, John Bonello. Stay tuned. The mighty Igor is next on Big Time Wrestling. Here we go with our next match on Big Time Wrestling, and from Poland, weighing 276 pounds, the mighty Igor. In the ring along with Igor, his manager, Ivan Kalmikoff. Igor's opponent on Big Time Wrestling from Texas, weighing 260 pounds, John Davidson. And he is accompanied by his brother, Rick Davidson. And this will mean trouble. Brother Rick Davidson in the corner with John. But then the mighty Igor's got his manager, Ivan Kalmikoff, in his corner. Should be a good bout. Quite a little grudge going on between the Davidsons, the mighty Igor, Randy Scott, John Bonello, Tim Talltree. The Davidsons, of course, along with the Assassin. Got quite a few people after him, those names I just mentioned. They have said anytime, any place. A singles match, 4-man tag, a 6-man tag, an 8-man tag, any way they want to go. The Davidson brothers have put out that challenge, and the other people involved, the mighty Igor, John Bonello, Randy Scott, Tim Talltree, they say fine. Sign those contracts. So we signed one today, and bringing you this bout between the mighty Igor and John Davidson. Full Nelson now. This is the hold that Bobby Colt had on John Bonello in our last match. Now watch how the mighty Igor gets out of it. Flexes those muscles. And let's see. Oops, having a little bit of trouble here. There he goes, just like that. Mighty Igor. I don't know who he's applauding there, himself or does this little dance. Very proud of himself there. And he should be. He's worked so long and so hard on that strength. Oh, now John Davidson is challenging the mighty Igor to put a full Nelson on him. He knows how it's done. He says he can break that hold too. Igor would like to lay one in on him. Okay, now let's see if John Davidson can break the hold on him. I wonder, the strongest man in professional wrestling, if John Davidson can do that, if he can break it, it'll be pretty amazing. Well, he's not having a heck of a lot of luck, is he? Igor sends him head first into the corner. Nice try, says Igor. Now, little conference at ringside. Igor objects to that. And Igor warns Rick Davidson to stay in his corner. I don't know, I bet the mighty Igor wouldn't, he'd probably take them both on. Well, he's going to have a little talk now with his manager, Ivan Kalmikoff. Let's see what advice was passed from Ivan. Oh, a little surprise there from Davidson. And look at him working a mighty Igor. The Japanese nerve pinch. Cluster of nerves there in between the shoulder and the neck. Igor just may lay one in. Uh-oh. Davidson pulls Igor to his knee by the hair. And John Davidson, he's really going to work on a mighty Igor. And he'd better, too. If he doesn't, he'll very quickly find himself down in the mat. Of course, in addition to pinfalls, the mighty Igor has been very successful with that bear hug. You can imagine what it must feel like to have the mighty Igor apply a bear hug to you. Mighty Igor, the big fellow, and he throws Davidson 3/4 of the way across that ring. His strength is amazing, immense. Mighty Igor, a little flexing up there. He's got quite a sense of humor. Mighty Igor has a very cheery outlook on things. Takes an awful lot to get him upset. Now Igor went head first into the corner, but Igor, besides being the strongest man in professional wrestling, also has one of the hardest heads, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. You just can't... You can't really get to the mighty Igor by knocking him in the head. He just doesn't feel it. Over the top goes John Davidson. And Igor's ready. I think he's ready to take on both John and Rick Davidson at the same time. Davidson is in the corner. The referee may put the count to John Davidson. Both men having conferences with the men on the outside. Hang on a minute, says Igor. Gotta get a little advice here from Kalmikoff, managers, and Igor. Long time. They've enjoyed tremendous success. Thumb thrust to the throat. John Davidson, one of his favorite moves there, those elbow smashes. The actual elbow itself is not legal. Now look at this. Mighty Igor just carrying Davidson around the ring. Outstanding display of strength. I can sit here and talk about how strong Igor is all day long. It just takes something like that, though, to illustrate it beautifully. mighty Igor. One of the top favorites of wrestling fans around the world. Igor driving Davidson's head into the turnbuckle. Davidson's holding on for dear life. Referee orders the mighty Igor to break it up. Igor doesn't want it, though. Finally does. Igor may be being a little rough with Davidson, but it's certainly not as rough as Davidson would be. Well, now Igor sent out of the ring by John Davidson. He was distracted a little bit by Brother Rick on the outside. Now the mighty Igor, one Davidson in front of him, one behind him. We better watch that Rick Davidson, although I don't think he'll tangle with the mighty Igor. You never can tell. The referee puts the count to Igor. John rushes him. Oh, and Igor just threw him off, threw John Davidson into the corner. And again, flings him across the ring into the turnbuckle. Mighty Igor from Warsaw, Poland. 276 pounds of muscle, too. Look at him. Igor loves his fans, and the feeling is mutual. Across the ring again goes Davidson. The mighty Igor in on him. Oh, Rick Davidson on the outside. Wait a minute. The referee is in for the count, only to one, though. I thought we might have a disqualification there. Yeah, Rick Davidson is still holding on to that foot on the outside. Tripped the mighty Igor, and I'll tell you what. Yeah. It's been a disqualification here. And I congratulate the referee for not putting up with that. He disqualified John Davidson for outside interference. The winner is the mighty Igor. We'll be back with Chief Jay Strongbow as Big Time Wrestling continues. Back with more Big Time Wrestling. We're going to talk with Chief Jay Strongbow in just a moment here as he holds the beautiful trophy, which is now in pieces. With us from the National Wrestling Alliance, Tom Ernesto, and quite a lot of action happening around here, Tom. A lot of new stars, talking about John Bonello, Randy Scott, Tim Talltree, the Davidsons. Things are really looking up for Big Time Wrestling. Indeed so. I would say that we have some of the finest talent in the world here now. Of course, you can have none better than the Sheik, who has held the United States Heavyweight Championship longer than anyone. You've got men like Bulldog, Don Kent, and a lot of young, up-and-coming wrestlers that are here, and they all seem to be coming to this area. Of course, the wrestling, the caliber of wrestling that we have here, I think is the best. And of course, you take men such as Don Kent, and presently the animosity and feeling that we have between Don Kent and the Chief here is something that I've never witnessed in close to 30 years in this business. And it's a very competitive world. We understand that wrestling is a very competitive world, and these are men that think a great deal of themselves, think a great deal of their fans, and certainly the Chief here thinks so very much of all of his young fans. And I feel, as a representative from the National Wrestling Alliance, that what Don Kent did to the Chief here is despicable. I don't think we have any place for this kind of individual in professional wrestling, and I think that something is going to have to be done. You're going to have to get a little tighter, a little stricter with your officiating. You're going to have to get a little bit tighter and a lot more stricter with the rules and regulations as they're laid down. I think, fine, in every professional sport, you have certain individuals that are going to try to stretch the rules a little bit and get away with what they can. Of course, this comes from being competitive. This comes from a man being out there trying to win, and that's what it's all about. But then when it gets down to a personal nature, such as the thing that Don Kent has done toward the Chief, I think that's where something has got to be done to stop this type of individual. Because I know that the Chief is very capable of inflicting a lot of damage, a lot of pain on a person. And I think the feeling that this man has from within is so deep and so deep-rooted, something very, very serious could happen.
and I know that. And I'm sure you, the years that you've been around professional sports, you know professional athletes really get determined on something, they can do something. You're looking at a man here that's well over 6 foot tall, 245 or 50 pounds, sitting there with about 17 to 18-inch biceps on him. Very powerful man. He knows all the ins and outs. I'm not taking anything away from Don Kent, but I do believe that there's going to have to be something done to stop this thing where it gets so personal. Fine, competitiveness is fine. I think this is what it's all about. But this personal nature of things, it's just something's going to have to be done to stop it.
I think you're just the man who's got something in mind to put a stop to Bulldog Don Kent, aren't you?
Well, Mr. Renes was talking about personal. Well, personal, this involves me. This is going, I mean, if this involves me, if it takes something to injure me, I mean, that's why I go inside that ring, to win a match. If I get hurt inside the ring, I mean, that's the risk I'm taking. That's personal. Mm-hmm. This is beyond personal. This is doing something to people that has nothing to do with Don Kent. They care less about Don Kent. There was something that they felt was in their hearts for me.
You're talking about all the kids who saved their money to give you the trophy.
Terry, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. The folks out there know what I'm talking about. That's getting beyond. That means that's like kicking your dog because it belongs to you because I'm mad at you. I can take being injured. I've been injured. But to do something like Don Kent did, I'll never forget it. You know, you can get this desk here and drive a nail down into that desk and say you're sorry. Pull that nail back out of that desk. But when you look in that desk, the hole is still there. And it's right here. I won't forget Don Kent. If you're watching out there anywhere, you're going to pay for all this. I'd never felt... I just, myself, I could never do this. Not to me or to any of these folks out there, but the people had nothing to do with it. Things are going to happen. I tell you, I feel bitter, and I'm going to hurt someone. Don Kent, you can count on me hurting you. You can just write that down in your book that I'm going to hurt you.
I think we've got quite a match on our hands here, Tom.
I think we do have, and of course, as I say, the feeling runs very, very deep. I don't want to take away from anything that the chief has said, and I know how he feels about it. I know how personally he feels he's been personally attacked, and as I don't mean to keep harboring on the point of personalities or personal, I know how he feels. I would like to add this, if I may. We have been going down around the West Virginia area, and we certainly want to compliment those fans and tell the fans how much we're looking forward to coming down in that area. The response has been very gratifying. It's been tremendous response there in all the major cities and a lot of the small cities. So we want to urge all of these fans to come out and see us, talk to us when we come to those cities, and we're always very happy indeed to come there and visit with our West Virginia fans. And they are great fans indeed, and it is indeed a great state.
Right, it sure is. Had a lot of good times down there. I just want to let you know, Chief, that I am going to be real close when you wrestle Bulldog Don Kent. I'm going to be in your corner, and I know thousands and thousands of fans out there.
I'm going to be inside of him. He can count on that. I'm going to be close to him. I'm going to be inside of him. I hate to repeat myself, but if it's out in the street, anywhere as I can get near Don Kent, I'm going to hurt him. I made up my mind I'm going to hurt him.
Well, he really deserves anything that Chief Jay Strongbow can give to him, I think.
Yes, I believe so, and as I said before, it's just something that runs very deep, and we'll just have to wait and see what takes place.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be back with Bulldog Don Kent in the ring in just a moment as Big Time Wrestling continues. We're back with more big-time wrestling, and as you can hear, the people are barking because the Bulldog is in the ring, and we'll introduce his opponent first. From Salt Lake City, Utah, 220 pounds, Randy Scott. And his opponent from Indianapolis, Indiana, 243 pounds, Bulldog Don Kent. Quite about we've got for you now on Big Time Wrestling. Randy Scott and Bulldog Don Kent. Well, the Bulldog has riled a lot of people in his career, but never has he gotten anybody, hurt anyone as deeply as he's hurt Chief Jay Strongbow, as the Chief said so eloquently, not only physically, but also deep, deep down inside. Something the Chief will always remember, and something that Bulldog Don Kent will pay dearly for. Head scissors applied by Randy Scott. He is an outstanding wrestler. You can see the Bulldog's face turning deep, deep red. Of course, the fans like to rub it in on the Bulldog. They bark at him, he hates it, and they know it, and that's why they do it. And many, many times, as we've seen here on Big Time Wrestling, as you've seen in the arenas, when the people start to bark, it just drives the Bulldog crazy. If he's got a hold applied and the people start to bark loud enough, he'll release that hold. And this causes him to lose his concentration on his match. So if you don't like the Bulldog, there's one thing you can do, and that's bark real loud. Scott's still holding on to that head scissors, got the Bulldog up. He bridges, though. His shoulders were down on the mat. Bulldog is trying to separate Randy Scott's feet, not having any luck so far, though. He bridges once again, and he manages to get up, and he's right on top of Scott. Moves in. Good wrestling from the Bulldog for once. Now, hear the people. Listen to him bark. Let's see what happens to the Bulldog. He's trying to ignore him. Randy Scott comes back with that head scissors again on Bulldog Don Kent. Referee asking a Bulldog if he wants to give up. Bulldog says no. This is a good hold, very punishing hold. Puts that pressure on the head, the neck. Puts a stretch on it. Once again, a Bulldog finds himself in this predicament, trying to get out of the hold. He does so. Moves in with the side headlock on Randy Scott, and as soon as he grabs the hold, the people start to barking, and that's probably what caused the Bulldog to break it, to lose it. Randy Scott having great success so far, keeping the Bulldog at bay. With that head scissors. Well, it looks like the Bulldog's collar is starting to come off. I hope Randy Scott can get a hold of it before the Bulldog does. There it is. You can see it. It's coming off. And we've seen the Bulldog, you know, he'll stop at nothing in his matches, and several times we've actually, whoa, right over the referee. And there goes the Bulldog again, flying head scissors. Took him across the ring. We've seen him use that collar. He's taken it off several times in his matches. And if the referee catches him, that's instant disqualification, of course. Randy Scott back to that head scissors. It's a good hold. And it'll weaken the Bulldog. Ever so gradually. Now the fans are hollering on the other side. I don't know if Bulldog, yeah, I see he's got that collar off. Let's see what he does with it. The referee has not seen it. He hasn't been close enough to it. The Bulldog does have the collar wrapped around his right fist. And the referee is in back of the action, and he misses it. Just what I was talking about. As the Bulldog used the collar on Randy Scott. The referee is completely unaware that the Bulldog has taken his collar off and is using it as a weapon. And you can see it right there. Now the Bulldog, all right, he lets go of that collar. Drapes the collar over the top turnbuckle. And Kent, look at him. Brutalizing Randy Scott. Just drives him into the mat with that body slam. The Bulldog stretches the head, has a hold of that chin. As Tom Ernesto said, it's gone beyond competitiveness. It's gone beyond a wrestling match with Bulldog Don Kent and Chief Jay Strongbow. It's into a personal issue now. It's a genuine case of survival of the fittest. Randy Scott laying him into the Bulldog, hurls him across the ring and over the top and down goes Bulldog Don Kent, a look of astonishment on his face. Body slam by Randy Scott in for the count. The referee is down. Oh, only 2-1. Only a 1 count. There's the Bulldog. People are getting to him, and so is Randy Scott. The Bulldog back in the corner. There's his collar. Oh, he's going for that collar again. He's got that collar wrapped around his hand. The referee still is not aware the Bulldog even has the collar. And look at him use it on Randy Scott. Bulldog, there it is. This man will stop at nothing. And I'm sure that's the attitude that Chief Jay Strongbow is well aware of, and the same attitude that he'll have when he meets Bulldog Don Kent. The fact that he can stop at nothing to get the Bulldog, then he gets the Bulldog in the ring. The fans telling the referee that, of course, now Bulldog doesn't have the collar. The collar is back over the turnbuckle. A Bulldog, a boot into the chest of Randy Scott, puts him down. And there's Kent with a fist into the face of Randy Scott. Referee in there checking. Bulldog Don Kent is being legal for once. Bulldog Don Kent's collar is still in the corner. There it sits. Let's hope he leaves it there. Kent has that nerve grip on Randy Scott. The referee is asking Randy Scott if he wants to give up. And the people start to bark. They start to bark, and he's driving a Bulldog wild. Look at him. He's driving him wild. He has lost his concentration. Randy Scott has a momentary reprieve from the Bulldog as the people just let loose on him. And now Randy Scott has gotten his wind back. The people, with their barking, gave Randy Scott a little bit of time in there, and now he's making it hurt for the Bulldog as he hurls him across the ring, follows him there, and the Bulldog flies across the ring. Kent with a boot and a knee lift. Puts Randy Scott back, flat on his back. Kent holds on to that side headlock. Randy Scott throws him off, though. They collide, and down goes Randy Scott. The Bulldog is on the move again. This time caught beautifully. Hip toss. Takes him down. Bulldog Don Kent. Oh, I can't wait to see him in the ring against Chief Jay Strongbow. He's got so much to pay for. And the Chief is the man who can make him pay, too, isn't he? Randy Scott letting loose on the Bulldog. They're back in that corner with a collar, and there goes Kent. He's got that collar again, wrapped it around his fist. And he lays one in to Randy Scott's head, follows him out. And now on the floor, the referee puts the count in as Bulldog Don Kent hammers away with that collar over his fist. The referee is to 7. This could be a count out here as Bulldog Don Kent is just going crazy. That's it. They've been counted out. Bulldog Don Kent is, I don't know what's happened to him here. Kent has gone wild. He's gone berserk. The people are calling for the Chief. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a commercial break and be back with more action on Big Time Wrestling. There's been so much talk about that Japanese tag team match between the U.S. champion, the Sheik, and Abdullah the Butcher against Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk. We've had so much response to it. We showed you a portion of it last week, the pre-bout ceremony and rituals that they all go through. And we're going to pick it up from that point and show you more of it. We'll let you hear the Japanese commentary now and then. As we go to the Sumo Hall in Tokyo, Japan, where Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk are in the ring awaiting the appearance of the Sheik and Abdullah the Butcher. Here come the Sheik and the Butcher. You'll see the flower girls, I guess you would call them. They present those beautiful bouquets of flowers to the wrestlers they idolize. Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk. There are the flowers. Beautiful things, bouquets presented to them. And now we've got them all four in the ring as the referee prepares to start this bout. Joining us from the National Wrestling Alliance here at ringside to witness this happening is Mr. Tom Ernesto.
Well, Terry, I'd like to say that I was present in Tokyo, Japan when this particular match took place, and their ceremony and all are just unbelievable. The cost of the tickets here and what they charge is unbelievable. It's $50 ringside, $25 general admission, and with this crowd of some 30,000 people jam-packed in the great sumo hall there to see this, it just, the manner in which they draw is absolutely outstanding.
They really idolize those wrestlers.
They idolize it, and as you know, the main professional sport for many, many years was baseball and sumo, and of course now professional wrestling rivals even baseball, and it's just an amazing thing. And of course everyone was in attendance. There were promoters from all over the world that watched this match, and they have tried to bid for it in Madison Square Gardens. They've bidded for this match all over the world.
You see those cheerleaders there? They even had some cheerleaders there with pom-poms.
They have cheerleaders. They have everything there, and the ceremony and all that they go through prior to the match. We've shown before, I believe it was last week that you showed in the dressing room prior to going out, in the manner in which these Funks are absolutely idolized there. They are the idols. And of course, one of the most feared and hated men that you will find there, of course, is the Sheik. And strange as this may seem, with all of his tenacity and ferocity in the ring, he's very, very highly respected. When he walks out of that ring, no one dares touch him. They back away, and they seem to hold this man in reverence because they not only fear him, but they do respect him.
One question about the flowers. Do they present the flowers before every match or just the main events, or what?
No, this is normally before the big main event, such as a main event like this. Of course, they have the geisha girls, or geisha girls as they bring them in, I should say, and they do present the flowers to the wrestlers. And as I said, there's a lot of ceremony, and they stop at nothing. And there again, you see the Sheik in, and you notice how the people will back away. They're afraid of him, and as I say, more than fear, they highly respect him for his ability.
This, of course, this match set an all-time attendance record in Japan, too, right?
The largest attendance in the history of professional wrestling, and as I say, professional wrestling today rivals even baseball. And these four men set an all-time record. And as I've said, not to sound repetitious, of course, this match is they wanted to sign this in all the major cities throughout the world. And it was very fortunate, of course, that the match was signed for this area. And it's really something. When the people see this match and see that it has been signed or is going to appear in one of their cities, it's something they just can't afford to miss. These are four of the highest paid and four of the most sought-after athletes in professional wrestling today.
Of course, you've got Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk, both former world heavyweight champions and both still very, very highly rated.
Indeed so. Both former world champions and brothers, of course, and they are very highly rated indeed. You notice the Japanese announcer, we're talking over it now, but if you listen a little bit of his narration on it, they've got four announcers there, and they're just going just as fast as they can talk.
Let's listen to him for just a few seconds here.
夢のようですよね。そうですね。しかしね、前2回に比べてね、スタートの時点では非常になんか不気味なほど静かですね。なるほどね。まだ今のところ場外乱戦はありませんね。そうですね。リングの中に4人の選手がいます。そして上位口レフリーを加えますと5人の人間がリングの中におります。アブダラドボッチャーと今度はドリーのコール、ドリーコール。そういえばザ・パンクスのチアリーダーが出来上がりました。またしても狂気で突き刺します。
Of course, wherever Abdullah the Butcher or the United States champion, the Sheik appear, is pretty much the same. If you understand Japanese, you understand what was happening there. But you don't really have to understand it. It's a universal language what's happening there in the ring.
That's very, very true. And another thing that's most interesting, the reception, of course, initially when the men are coming over, it is publicized far in advance when the Sheik, a man such as the Sheik or Abdullah or any of these top four are going to get there. And they actually cause traffic jams at the airport to see these men upon their arrival as well as their departure. And it's something, of course, as you know, the Sheik is a very private person, very much to himself. And these people, just to get a glimpse of them, I've actually seen downtown Tokyo be jammed.
All right, there we go from the Sumo Hall in Tokyo, Japan. More of that record-breaking bout. Brutal, vicious match it was, too, right?
It was one of the most brutal and vicious matches I have ever seen. And as I was saying, the manner in which these people are so highly respected there, they cause traffic jams everywhere they go. In a great city of Tokyo, some 13 or 14 million people, when the Sheik walks down the street, they actually stop traffic. He goes into a big store. They actually have to bring in police to get the people back. He's so idolized. And as much as they dislike the man and fear him, he is highly respected.
Oh, yes. Quite able. As a professional wrestler, the United States heavyweight champion, as you said earlier, held it longer than anyone else. Put him together with a Butcher and put him against the Funks, and boy, you get some kind of a match.
You certainly do, Terry, and it's a match to behold, and I'm always interested in seeing a great match such as this.
We'll be back with more big-time wrestling in just a moment. Stay with us.